All right, Chase, welcome back. I hope, I don't really know what it would be, but I hope that before you release the second episode, you're going to have a giant cope session like you did for our first episode, where you snuck in a little solo cast talking about how great the Chargers played. Thoughts?
Oh, yeah. This is how we're gonna start our episode because last week I had set up a little thing where I did like a solo intro because there was you kind of I didn't tell you about this, but I actually went through and I edited out some moments from the previous episode that we just dropped, where I just went off on the Broncos for no reason. And this, re-listening to myself, it was like, wow, I'm actually not making any sense with what I'm saying. I just kind of want to be a hater. And then I thought all of that could work perfectly if at least the Chargers had won. But then it's kind of like, oh, almost everything I said about the Broncos, you could just say that about the Chargers in their game on the Texans that happened last Saturday. Yeesh. The Chargers did not look good at all. Like the first half, they looked like they have no business being in the playoffs. They looked like they had no business even being talked about in a championship game. They looked like they had no business being talked about even winning one playoff game.
They look like prime Chargers, if you ask me.
It was prime Chargers. It was a prime Chargers curse game. That can only mean that hopefully down the line they will get no curses.
I do feel like
down the line we got all of our curses out this game, and so in the future for the future playoff games we'll be fine. And we can't have we never have 3 curse games in a row. So it's always we always just dump all of our curse games in one game, and I feel like this was a good game to exercise all of our curses. The second half, however, I feel like we looked a lot better. For sure, if you really think about, they only scored 6 points in the second half, and the Texans did. The Texans only scored 6 points in the second half off of field goals. They did not score a single time in the second half. So those first 2 long bomb plays that got them their first 2 touchdowns were like random outliers almost. And the second half was completely ruined by horrible reffing. And horrible reffing on both sides.
It was bad on
This
both
might have
sides.
been one of the worst reffed games of the whole NFL season. And there was random tripping. Justin Herbert got a tripping call where it looked like a defensive lineman on the Texans just tackled him, but in there rolling around, he stuck a leg out and he was already falling, but I guess they called it tripping for Justin Herbert, not on Justin Herbert, but so I was like, okay, I don't know if that's tripping, but I'll take that.
It's for my team. I'll take it.
It's for my team. I'll take that one. There was also roughing the passer on C.J. Stroud by Henley, and that one to me was not a roughing the passer. Roughing the passer, I guess, varies from reffing crew to ref crew.
You have you have a hit box essentially, where you can hit them, and then you have to do your best to not put body weight on them, and it's all so subjective. All penalties are subjective to some degree. There's forms of objective nature to it, but for the most part, it's subjective, and it's especially in big moments in second halves. It's always I inevitably think that it's going to get called because it always seems to be 3rd and long, and it's always a bailout play. And it kind of turned out to be for the Chargers. Yeah. Well, I guess for the Texans, but. It's a call that's ruining the game.
The roughing the passer should only be called if it's holy crap, what was that? What are you doing? I totally get that Mahomes would get that call. I get Mahomes and Josh Allen getting calls where It's like, dude, you're one of the faces of the NFL, and you're probably worth like $500 million to the NFL. Um, the organization is not just going to let you be horribly roughed by the defensive lineman by any means. So it's like, I get that they might get calls that they don't really look like roughing the passer or whatnot. But it kind of just seems like a bunch of random other quarterbacks get called for roughing the passer all the time. And I swear Herbert never gets called for roughing the passer plays, even though he gets killed sometimes. And he gets killed sometimes, and it's like, okay, that should be roughing the passer, but for some reason it's just never called for him. And I don't know if that's a thing where it's just because he's big. Like, he's like I think he's like 6'5" or 6'6".
Some might call him a tall glass of water.
He's a tall glass of water. But I don't know, maybe if it just doesn't look as bad when it happens to him up close. But yeah, I just feel like he never gets those calls. He never gets the roughing the passer calls. He never gets, like, I think sometimes of a defensive player, I think sometimes they do target his broken hand, and they never get called for that. There was also, nobody has talked about this yet, but it was, there was a play where, you know how, like, the substitutions, each team gets substitutions called in, and for some reason one side just takes a lot longer than the other side. And
if
then
the,
it's kind
if
of
the
like,
offense if the offense subs, defense gets a chance to sub.
The defense gets a chance to sub. So that happened. But the thing is, on the Texans side, they were confused, and there's players on the Texans side that was like, "Hey, should I be in right now?" And you can totally tell that, like, they're confused really, and they're not sure if they should be out there or in. And Justin Herbert is going like, "Look at what they're doing! Like, why are they taking up so much time?" Because it was in maybe the final quarter of the game, and it was like, it had to have been within the last 10 minutes of the game, because the time was so valuable, and I swear that the Texans did it on purpose just to waste time. Like, they were like, hey, go out there on your substitutions and look confused, just to take up maybe 10 seconds.
Oh, that is...
And I think that should be a penalty.
It's
in my mind...
That's coaching. That's chess. That's playing
Yeah,
chess.
But the whole thing is that you're doing it on purpose. You're doing a purposeful delay of game that you're pretending like you guys are all confused when you're not.
Brother, that's how Bill Belichick won like 10 Super Bowls in New England, finding every possible legal loophole to make people be like, man, they have to be cheating or something.
Yeah, but is that not a delay of game? Is that not a purposeful delay of game?
It's down to the refs. The refs...
yeah, but the refs, if the refs are saying, the refs don't say, hey, let your substitutions come in, but it's okay for them to stand around for 10 seconds and act like they have no clue where they're supposed to be at, or if they're supposed to come in or not. Like, I don't think that's in the rule books.
Well, it all literally comes down to the ref stands over the ball.
Yes!
And then waits, and if the ref steps away from the ball and says it's fair ball to play, then that's on the Chargers for not snapping the ball. If the Houston isn't...
He wouldn't let them.
Well, yeah,
the ref did not step away.
Right.
And Herbert was literally pointing at them, going, "Look at what they're doing."
Yeah, that's gamemanship.
The ref, I think the ref did not have any clue what was happening.
Well,
and he just was like,
the easy solution for the Chargers is if they had even one competent offensive lineman. I swear, man, every play Justin Herbert was about to be sent to the Shadow Realm. Every single play, he was running for his dear life. He looked like an MVP in that game that played... His stats are like bottom, I don't know, 20% for the game, but he looked like an MVP if you watch the game because of how many plays he made out of nothing.
Yeah,
and
he literally kept us in the game because he had like 30 yards. He had like a 30-yard rushing play that was literally like saved our skin.
And if you have
maybe
the
kept us in the game.
Lad McConkey on your team and you only throw it to him like twice, how are you supposed to win?
I don't know. I don't know what's up with that.
If you want to win, get McConkey in. Um, it was frustrating. I do think that the Chargers are going to bounce back, and I think it's a smart move what Harbaugh is doing because it's pretty clear. Yeah, benching the starters because really, you got to win once you're in the playoffs. If you're in the wild card round, unless it's, I don't think there's any like world beaters that'll be playing in any of the games. I think anybody that's in the playoffs can win every game that they play in. So I get what he's doing, because you never know. Slip on a banana peel, even if you do the most conservative play calls, Herbert could make his hand worse if he played.
Yeah.
Or you just never know.
Yeah, I get it. It's 100% better just to rest everybody. No problem. But, man, I really wish we had won this game. And I really wish that the last play, like, the decider wasn't based on a penalty. I think when penalties, like, decide a game at the end, that's worse than...
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, this game made me almost hate kickers, where I was just like, you mean we went all that way, and just because this guy missed a kick between two goalposts, we're screwed? Like, it was like...
I heard Dicker the kicker's been hanging out with Nate Kading. That's why he missed that kick.
Nate Kading. I almost had the opportunity to meet him, because he's like he
Were you
owns
going
a
to visit him
restaurant
in
in Iowa
jail
City
for the missed field goals?
No, but he has this like I think he part owns one of this a restaurant in Iowa City. You know, when I was going to school there, and Tom, he was actually like he talked at one of Tom's classes, and Tom wouldn't tell me when the class was or what the class was or where it was, because I was trying to get Tom to tell me where the class was, like when was it, so I could go and see Nate Kading.
Throw eggs
but Tom
at him
wouldn't tell me
or something.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to get his autograph. I was not going to get his autograph. That's
I have childhood trauma because of you, Nate.
Dude. I know, it's horrible. It really is horrible. But I honestly don't think that it should be a thing where, I mean, everybody can say that the refs are really bad, and I don't think anybody has ever said, "Boy, the refs are so good," and the refs are just great. But I don't think that if it's a fourth quarter, like play of the game, this is coming down to the play. If the penalty isn't so obvious that makes you want to throw up, then just let the play.
Well, it's you got to draw the line somewhere, because if they don't call it, you give a mouse a cookie. That's my favorite saying. But if you don't make the call, then it's just going to progressively get worse and worse. Or if you send it to review, then you can find a flag on every play. It's, as much as I hate the officiating, with the current structure, there's not much they can do. They just do their best. The fact that NFL officials are not full-time employees of the NFL is wild to me. That it's like
crazy.
A side gig, and anytime that NFL players say anything, they get in trouble, they get fined. But if you look at the MLB and the NBA, they're full-time officials. Like, the NFL is such an institution. There's what?
Maybe it's that they have a lot more games. Like all those other sports have so many more games.
But really,
games,
six or seven officials on a field, even if you say 10. So in a given week, you would need 160 to 200 officials. Let's just say 200. If you just put them on staff and give them, I don't know, $200,000 a year, you know how many people would like study and work really, really hard to get to that position?
Yeah.
Like,
also, there would probably be a lot less people thinking that Vegas has a lot of decisions over the ref choices.
Yeah, and you've
ref
seen
decisions.
You've seen that a lot in college football. That the whole being part-time and really not a huge vetting process. That there's been some like
that is really weird.
Big Alabama fans officiating SEC games. It's a dirty
but
business.
It's funny because NBA, even though they've had the full-time refs, the NBA have the most notorious ref cheating scandal.
Oh, yeah.
With that guy. But interestingly enough, soccer, do you know who Pierluigi Collina is?
No. So in soccer,
So in soccer, Pierluigi Collina is the most famous ref of all time, and he has worldwide respect and admiration, um, because he would do detailed reports on each like player on the refs in the games that he would ref, and he would like have different. He would know different languages to talk to different players and stuff, and he never backed down from players, and he was so respected and so well known that he's actually on the cover of one of the FIFA games.
Wow,
And
that's
it's a
crazy.
it's a ref. Yeah, it's
That's
a
crazy.
ref. Yeah, Pierluigi Collina. I'll send you a picture of him after we stop. But he's awesome if you look into his like what he's done and stuff. But it kind of goes to show where it's just like you just have to if you let your refs become invested into the sport, they can probably do good work. And a lot of people will be like, "Oh, we're in good hands. We have this guy reffing and blah blah blah." But half the time, you have no idea who's doing the reffing and whatnot. And I don't really want to, like, I don't really want to be on like a 10-minute long
Officiating.
refs always suck and the officiating is horrible tangent. But I felt like I needed to
But it does.
say all that stuff because that reffing in that game was absolutely horrible. Because it decides games. Like it's not like it's one play. It decides the winner or the loser, and it has massive playoff implications. So
Right.
it kind of does need to be said. But on the other hand, the Chargers can't have like zero offense in the first half and expect to win. So yeah, it was kind of the worst of both worlds for the Chargers. The defense looks really good though. Like that, this is one of the best defenses we've ever had. I think they're really, really, really good. They just blew some coverages in the first like 2 plays of the game, but other than that, I mean, they've been doing really well. And I honestly think the Chargers will look a lot better for their playoff game. So we can move on from that game unless you have anything else to say
No,
about your favorite team.
I was not surprised. I thought that the Texans kind of catching fire, and the Chargers are just so banged up. But I think there's a world where they might match up pretty early on in the playoffs. Like maybe week 2, I think round 2 maybe is what I was looking at earlier, but that all just depends on seeding. So, and then what other big games happened before we get into previews, Trace?
I was gonna say it was interesting to watch the Ravens and the Packers game because it was 2 backup QBs who were playing as well as a starter QB could be. Like Malik Willis and Snoop Huntley were playing really, really well. Like they looked like they could be starting at at a bad team. You know what I mean? And then the entire Ravens organization, as well as Derrick Henry, just remembered why Derrick Henry was there.
Yes.
And then they were like, "Oh, okay, that's right. Oh, that's right. I am Derrick Henry. I am gonna run for 4 touchdowns." So yeah, there was that. And then the Buccaneers. Remember we were talking about the Buccaneers last time, and I was like, "No, the Buccaneers are done. They're dead." And I had a feeling beforehand that I was gonna bet the money line on the Dolphins, because I just had a feeling. I was like, I just feel like the Buccaneers are just like collapsing, and they're gonna lose every game. And I think Baker is hurt. Until the Buccaneers lost against the Dolphins, against the Quinn Ewers led Dolphins.
Go.
So take that as you will. The Patriots absolutely destroyed the Jets. And Drake May had like some crazy stat lines of like let me see here. The Patriots beat the Jets 42-10, and Drake May was 19 for 21, 256 yards and 5 touchdowns. So
And no interceptions because the Jets are
0
incapable.
interceptions, and the Jets still have 0 interceptions, which is really funny. But I remember I read that the Patriots are a little overrated right now because everybody's going to
They
look
lost
at
to
this game.
the Raiders.
They lost to the Raiders their first game. The everybody is going to look at this game and go, "Wow, they are juggernauts. Like they can beat a team 42-10." But the thing is that it's the Jets who are on a historically bad season of defense. And I read somewhere that the Patriots have had one of the most easiest schedules in the history of the NFL. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I think they're a little, like, a tad overrated right now. I think, like, if you were to look at, like, where they are now and to think of them as, like, what could they look like in 5 years? They look like one of the brightest teams, the brightest future teams, and they were in some dark spots the last 2 seasons, and they did not look good. So it's kind of an interesting turnaround where last season they were the worst in their division. And this season it's almost like, hey, we've completely turned it around and the next 5 years are ours, no problem.
Yeah.
The Browns beat the Steelers, which you called, which is hilarious. But go on.
Yes. I was just going to say with the Patriots, yes, they've had a super easy schedule, but there is something to be said about going into the playoffs, playing your best football, even if it's not against the best teams.
That's true, yeah.
Like the last two teams you said, the Buccaneers and the Steelers both have the division on the line in Week 18, and they're both coming off of rather devastating losses. That is going to be hard for them to turn around and be like, all right, fresh slate, we're a playoff football team. Whereas the Patriots have cakewalks, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're unbeatable. They might get a wake-up call, but they're coming with confidence sky high.
That's true, yeah. Because you do not want a weird or devastating loss before the playoffs start. Yeah.
And then in the most
you would much rather be destroying teams than losing random games.
In our 2025... Oh, I was just going to say our 2025 Toilet Bowl game of the year for the don't mess up the first overall pick, the Giants put up 34 points on the Raiders to secure the Raiders the first overall pick in the draft. It's like even when the Giants win, they lose. There was no reason to win this game. And the thing is they think they have a quarterback in Jackson Dart. They could have either gotten anyone on the board or get some good draft capital if people think that Mendoza is going to be a good NFL quarterback. But instead, they're probably going to have to pick like 4th or 5th because the Jets are also terrible and the Titans are terrible. But congratulations to the Raiders for winning the first overall pick.
Yeah, that was a toilet bowl for sure. I was watching like the first half of that game, and I was just like, wow, the Raiders are so bad that they deserve to be the toilet bowl. Like they should rename their stadium the Toilet, because that's where other teams go to wipe their ass, because they are so bad. I mean, going into the toilet bowl, the Raiders had a minus 169 point differential. And then, so after this game, they have a minus 200 point differential, right? It should be around there. Their quarterback is horrible. I think Gino's done. I think Gino is just washed and done completely. I don't know if I buy into the Mendoza hype. Like, if you go into the subreddit for the Raiders and whatnot, and that's a very less than reputable football knowledge source, where it's like, these guys obviously know what they're talking about. That's not a thought you have in a subreddit, a football subreddit. Most of the time, they have every single football subreddit. They have no clue what they're talking about, and it's just all emotion. But a lot of people are really sold on the Mendoza choice, and I guess it's kind of like, might as well just gamble it all on hopefully they pick a good quarterback. But to me, something that's kind of stood out was that the Raiders, when you watch them, you feel like they have to replace a lot more people on the field and on the coaching staff and in the organization than the Giants. Like the Giants feel like they are maybe one piece away from being good. the Raiders feel like they're so far away from being good. Like the Raiders don't seem to me like they're anywhere near being good. Even if they have a first round draft pick, 2 years in a row, they don't. It doesn't feel like, oh yeah, next year's the year. Obviously, it's going to turn around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so many teams get baited into thinking, oh, we're just a quarterback away, and that's why you see so many quarterbacks have success later on when they're on their second or third team, like Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield or Indiana Jones. They all went to shitty organizations, and they're shitty for a reason. It's not just because they're one player away. They're top to bottom, poorly ran for the most part. And yeah, the Raiders are gonna probably pick 5 more quarterbacks in the next 10 years in the first round, and I'm gonna love every second of it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Or they'll, nothing will ever make me happier than when Chucky went back to coach there, and there was all the hype, and all the hype was gone within by week 3. That was just amazing. The implosion that happened on that team needed to be studied.
Was that John Gruden coming back? Where they had Antonio Brown, like they signed Antonio Brown
and Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
And it was not a good year for the Raiders. Great for AFC West fans that are not 100%. The Raiders. All right. Last two games of importance that have real playoff implications. We have the Seahawks and Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to squeak by this week, but a game against the Seahawks really showed that they're not quite ready to compete with the big dogs.
Well, the Seahawks are like one of the top teams in football right now, but the Seahawks only really ran away with it in the second half of the game. Yeah. The first half of the game, the Panthers and the Seahawks were pretty and I don't think anybody saw that coming. I don't think anybody was like, oh, there'll be 3-3 the first half. Panthers against the Seahawks. But in the second half, it was like, oh, that's the difference of a playoff team. The difference is that a playoff team
versus an actual contender.
Yeah.
And the last game of the night last night was probably top 5 game of the year. Bears 49ers. Boy, was it great.
It was great.
You know what? Offensive fireworks, some defensive touchdowns too. Caleb Williams shined. At least I thought he shined. And
Caleb looked great.
You saw on the 49ers how good all of their other pieces are. Like, not only is it just CMC, that's a stud. And yes, Kittle didn't play, but Juwan Jennings played great. And, he's on my fantasy team. The dude that got shot, Parcells. Purcell. Yeah. He had a game, too.
He did really well. The thing is that this is one of those games where it kind of made you wonder, are these teams, are their offenses so good, which might just be true. Bears offense is looking really good. The 49ers offense is one of the most stacked offenses in the league. McCaffrey is like the top fantasy running back. He's like producing crazy numbers. Kittle can get you 3 touchdowns. Their receiving core looks good. Is this almost like two things can be true, where their offenses are good and then the defense play just wasn't that good? Where it was like, are we really letting Caleb Williams throw deep bombs like 3 times a game right now? But because the thing is like, we have a lot of friends who are Bears fans, and I'm actually kind of happy for them because the Bears have been so bad for so long. And you kind of laugh at them where you're like, wow, look at the Bears. Look at the Bears just thinking that they might be good. That's so funny. But now they actually might be good. But sometimes Caleb Williams is he's a weird quarterback where he can make really long throws, but then he misses short throws. He misses like short throws to open players. and it's kind of is like, shouldn't you be hitting these obvious simple throws, even if they're a little contested and a little like you have to run out of the pocket and make them? It seems like he has to do a weird jump throw motion, and it just misses the open receiver by like 4 yards.
Yeah.
Like even the game that ended it last night, or the play that ended it last night, where he was wheeling out to the left, like he did a jump throw, and it hit the ground before it hit any receiver. And in my mind, it's almost like you want to maybe give a little bit more oomph on it to maybe give him a chance to jump and get it, but that's a hard throw to make anyway. But like a wheel left jump throw,
yeah,
definitely a hard throw for sure. But it just feels like sometimes on shorter throws he throws it short. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams. Who are we taking?
Stats don't lie, baby.
Do they have the same time in the league?
They do.
Caleb Williams and Bo Nix are both second-year quarterbacks.
They sure are.
And then Bo Nix has to be leading his stats have to be a little bit better than Caleb Williams, right?
They sure are.
Let's see here. Bo Nix tied for... Oh, that's this season. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I know any Bronco fan is going to take Bo Nix over Caleb Williams. I mean, that's not even going to be a question.
Bo Nix has 100 more completions, over 100 more completions, and just under 100 more attempts. And they've played.
Yeah, but that's because Bo Nix has a crazy like wide receiving core of Sutton and
of mids.
Yeah, Sutton and
hey,
those other guys.
I like Sutton. I love Sutton. He's one of my all-time favorite Broncos, but he's far from like a true number one.
Oh yeah, I know. It's really funny because that receiving trio. It's almost like it reminds me of what Herbert was throwing to before McConkey got there, or it's almost like what Herbert was throwing to last year, where it was just like, hey, there's McConkey and 2 other guys, or it's just like before Johnson came in, where it was like Palmer and Guyton and just a random wide receivers kind of like it was just like. Oh, yeah, and those guys are there, too. We have Keenan Allen, but we also have these random 2 other guys who you don't really hear about that much. But I think that Franklin, that's his last name, right? Franklin? Or is his first name Franklin?
It's Troy Franklin.
Franklin and the other guy, I think, are actually better than like the random Chargers wide receivers that we were playing with in
they have
2022.
Broncos get the drop bug pretty bad. To tie off the Bo Nix versus Caleb Williams, Bo Nix has 54 touchdown passes in his career to 43 by Caleb Williams. And here's the interesting nugget, that Caleb has over 100 more rushing yards than Bo, but Bo has 6 more rushing touchdowns than Caleb.
Wow.
So I would say Bo Nix is the complete package. Okay, should we move on to this week's games,
can you
Chase?
be like... hang on, though, because I want to give credit to that Bears-49ers game. That game was actually a lot more crazier than we are making it seem.
Oh, it was
like
nuts.
those throws and those offensive plays were so electric. Like, that was such a great game to watch. Like, that's one of the best games of the season, for sure.
Don't live on the East Coast because
you have to stay
Eastern
up till
time
midnight
zone
to watch
is
them.
butt cheeks. It's the worst. So, this next week, Week 18, we've got a fair slate of games. There's like 4 or 5 games that'll be really good, and the rest are, to be honest, I'm not even going to have them on the TV. I'm not going to pay any attention to them.
Some of these games are worthless, yeah.
My fantasy team's been done for a while, so I don't really care. But, so here are the big playoff implications going into this next week. So first, we have the Broncos and Chargers. So as it sits, the Broncos...
That's a bigger game for you guys than us.
I understand. Yeah,
That's a bigger game
so
for the Broncos. Yeah.
with a win from the Broncos will secure the number 1 overall seed and a first round bye, and that also means that they will be playing at Mile High Field
That's
for
huge.
yeah, up until the Super Bowl. Hopefully it snows a bunch, whatever. A Broncos loss or a tie could drop them to 2nd or 3rd seed depending on the Patriots and Jaguars games. Patriots play the Dolphins. With the Patriots win and a Broncos loss, they'll take the 1st seed. I don't know if I see that. We'll get into that, but I don't know if I see that happening.
If you see the Patriots losing to
The Patriots winning
Dolphins
against the Dolphins.
Oh, I see.
And the Jaguars versus the Titans and Texans at Colts. So the Jaguars win, they'll get the AFC South title, and they'll get at least the number 2 seed.
Right.
And then if the Texans win and the Jaguars lost, then they're the AFC South, and they'll get like the 4 seed or 3 or 4 seed. So basically, it's coming down a lot of games for seeding in the AFC, but the only real ones that matter about getting into the playoffs is the Ravens and Steelers, which is going to be an absolute, probably like a 15-14 game. It's going to be a slobber knocker of absolutely nothing, I think. A defensive struggle. So winner gets in.
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of these
Losers
games, it's almost like it's just seeding based.
Yeah, but this one in particular is they're playing for the playoffs, and I think that both of these teams, Ravens or Steelers, if they make the playoffs, they could either be one and dones, like lose, get spanked right away, or make the Super Bowl. I think that both of their rosters, specifically, I think that the quarterback and the
Steelers?
coaching, dude, there's something to say about a veteran quarterback and a veteran coach.
No. Did you see their game against the Browns? Did you watch that game?
No, but I don't think – I'm not saying they're going to win.
Horrible.
I'm not saying they're going to make the Super Bowl. I'm saying it would – like those two scenarios. I think it's if or kind of thing. Like I think if they win their first game, either one of those two teams, their chances of being in the Super Bowl like skyrocket. I put them as like almost the AFC favorite, but I don't think they will win their first game in the playoffs between the Ravens and Steelers. That's my hot take.
That is a searing hot take. Wow. If the Steelers win this, I don't think they will because the Ravens' backup QB was looking really good. Is DK out this game? Is he suspended for this game?
I think his suspension.
Or did they just give him a 1-game suspension?
I'm pretty sure it's 2 games. I'm pretty sure he's out for the rest. The Ravens should.
Dude,
win.
if DK, if he's out for this game, the Steelers are done. Like they don't have any other They don't have any other receivers to throw it to. So it is 2 games. So he's gonna miss out on this game.
Yep.
So DK sitting out of this game, the Steelers are not gonna win this at all. The Steelers are gonna look horrible. The Steelers are gonna play a lot worse than they look, for sure. I think that because the Ravens looked good, pretty dang good against the Packers. But I think the thing is, the only thing I buy in with your hot take is that I think the Steelers, even if the Steelers had DK and if they won this game, them being a Super Bowl favorite is preposterous and makes 0 sense. But the Ravens, if the Ravens win this game, if they win this game 34-10, and if they
get Lamar back,
if they just beat the brakes off of them, I buy into that for sure. 100% buy into that. Even though I think their backup QB has been playing a little bit better than Lamar Jackson this year.
Even scorching hotter take, kind of unrelated, but I think that if the Bills, Ravens, and Bengals all don't make the Super Bowl next year, I think we're going to see some quarterbacks on the move. At least one of the 3 of those quarterbacks will be not on that team in the 2027 season.
You mean the 2026 season to the 2027 season? Or you mean next season will be their last season?
Yeah, next season will be their last season on that team or retire.
I think I can see Burrow being done for sure.
Yeah.
I could see Josh Allen retiring just if he's like, he's a family guy now. Like he has his wife is going to give birth, and he's going to be like, you know what? I would much rather just be at home chilling with my family than playing. I could see that too. I don't think Lamar. You said the Ravens, right? I don't think Lamar Jackson leaves the Ravens.
I think there's something to be said. I mean, look at Matt Stafford.
Oh, did you say the Eagles?
No, the Bills.
The Bills, yeah.
And honestly, the Eagles too. I could see Jalen Hurts getting moved too. But it's just like the coaching. I would like to see them stay there until they retire, but sometimes relationships just, even if they're making the playoffs, sometimes it's just like, all right, we need to start over. If we haven't gotten over the hump to win the Super Bowl, it might be time to start over, even though they're elite quarterbacks. Last AFC game, Colts-Texans. It's literally just for seeding. I hope the Texans beat the brakes off the Colts so that stupid Colts singer guy Willow's in pain for one more week. NFC
does he ever make a song about them losing?
No. I try not to give that guy any views. I only will watch like aggregate views of him. I would never support his main channel.
Wow.
I know, I hate him. So we have Panthers at Bucks in the NFC. Super exciting game. They're playing for the playoffs. Win and you're in. Same situation. Really don't know what's going to happen in this game.
Yeah, these are all kind of a lot of big games. I mean, Seahawks versus 49ers is huge. A lot of like
number one seed.
Almost rivalries, like number one rivalries of the division.
And
sure.
There's, I think, home field advantage, especially between those two teams, matter a lot. I mean, you go to Seattle in particular, I think that's a huge advantage. And then the Bears just seeding. Same with Rams and Cardinals and Commanders and Eagles. It's all about seeding. But in terms of just winning you're in, it's the Panthers and Bucks. So now that we've talked about the importance, do we want to make some picks on who we think is going to win each game?
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, I think I know who's going to win each game, no problem.
Okay. Then I do. Let's do this. I have a good idea. We'll go through each game, and at the end, we're each going to give our lock. And
Let me just say this. On Prize Picks, I have yet to lose a money line bet. I'm like 8-0.
Someone called Gamblers Anonymous.
I'm 8-0, baby.
This boy is about to learn.
Hey, I only bet like $5 a thing, and I completely skipped it last week.
I only smoke crack on Tuesdays.
It's a responsible usage. What's the problem? You can use all that bad stuff, but if you're responsible about it, then... right?
So let's just go down. We'll run through every game. The ones that aren't playoffs, we'll just give a pick. I'm going to give a line. This was the line as of this morning. We're not a big, it's not a betting podcast. I just think it's interesting.
It's not.
For listeners.
It's more just seeing who the favorite is, really, I think.
Yeah. So the first game I've listed is Panthers at Bucks, and Bucks are at home, and they're a 3-point favorite. I am going with the Panthers. Panthers are trending up. Buccaneers are treading water, and they're sinking.
I don't understand how the Buccaneers are favorites in this game. The Buccaneers have lost like 3 games in a row.
I feel like home field advantage gives you like a 2-point swing.
Also, Panthers just beat them too. So the Panthers already beat them 2 weeks ago, and the Buccaneers are in worse mental state than before. I'm on Panthers for this.
Seahawks at 49ers. I think if George Kittle plays, I'm taking the 49ers. Otherwise, I'm taking the Seahawks, even though it's at the 49ers and they're giving them a 1.5, the 49ers, which I think that's home field advantage. I really think that Seahawks should be a -1 favorite.
Wow. See, I'm kind of the opposite after last night. I think after last night, the 49ers are looking good and they're feeling good. And I think that they will. I think that they'll destroy the Seahawks personally.
Okay.
I pick 49ers for this. Like, no problem.
Destroy. Let's put a pin in that and come back to his strong words of destroy. Saints at Falcons. Game doesn't matter. Falcons favored by 2.5. The Saints are going to blow the brakes off of them. I think the Saints have found their quarterback. And I could see the Saints being one of those teams next year that ends up like 7-11 or be 7-10 or kind of like the last few weeks of the year flirting with the playoffs.
I feel like there's always a team that starts out really bad where at the end of the season they end up looking good. And then you're like, wow, next season we could actually be like pretty good. And then the next season starts and they're just bad again. And I think that's the Saints. Probably. Like I think the Saints are like, oh, it doesn't matter that they're having a big upswing. They're the Saints. They're not going to be magically really good next year. Although I do think the Saints will win this next game. And this is one of the ultimate, this game does not matter at all. And has zero interest from me. This could not be more of a, I wish this game didn't exist.
Kyle Pitts is got to be the funniest and like to I don't even know because the Falcons are so bad that they don't get a ton of national coverage, but Kyle Pitts has the potential to be like the greatest tight end ever. In half the time, he is like a JV football player out there. It's so funny, but then half the time it's like, how is this guy a tight end? He should be like number one receiver. Yeah.
You know what's funny though about the Saints? What's funny about the Saints is that their coaching staff is a lot of former Chargers coaching staff. Like they have Staley as their defensive coordinator and Kellen Moore as their head coach. And Kellen Moore was our offensive coordinator in Staley's last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh man, this is almost like the Saints are like.
Isn't it interesting how they take like how they just take a non-Super Bowl team and put them on a like coaching staff, and they keep the same core and move elsewhere, thinking that they'll have success with a worse roster.
Well, Kellen Moore won the Super Bowl with the Eagles, I think, or maybe he lost that Super Bowl, but I think he won it.
Browns at Bengals.
I think the Bengals are going to destroy them. The Bengals always destroy teams in meaningless games. If the game has zero impact on their playoff ability, the Bengals will put up like 50.
15 Joe Burrow touchdowns tomorrow, probably.
Yeah.
Or on Sunday.
100%.
Cowboys, Giants. Cowboys are 5-point favorites. And because of that, I'm taking the Giants.
I think... Oh, you're taking the Giants.
Giants are
the Cowboys resting players at all for some reason? Like, do you think the Cowboys will play their backup QB for like any reason?
I don't know. I hope whatever bad things, short of any player getting hurt on the Cowboys, happens to the Cowboys, just so Jerry Jones loses sleep at night. And I also think that the Giants are such a poorly ran organization that they're somehow going to go to like from the 4th pick to the 8th pick by beating the Cowboys, which is, again, hilarious.
Yeah, I buy into that. I'll choose the Giants.
Vikings, Packers.
Vikings are really favored? How are the Vikings favored? They want. They beat the Lions that bad.
You might need to double check that line, but guessing the Packers are sitting a bunch of people. I think the Packers, because they're a wild card team, I think they're in a similar situation as the Chargers. They don't have a chance to really move up seeding wise, especially because like you have a couple 13 and 2 teams playing each other, and one of them will become the 5th or 6th seed. They'll become the wild card team with that good of a record. I don't know. I can still see
that makes sense. Yeah,
I could still see I'll choose the Vikings, but I could see the Packers winning just because the Vikings are kind of shitty. and can't seem to have anything go right there. Where Colts at Texans. Texans are a 10-point favorite. It's a must-win game. Not a must-win game, but there is implications for the Texans to win. They're at home. I don't know who the Colts are going to put at quarterback. I don't think Phillip Rivers is playing. I mean, I don't know why they'd play him. That seems like elder abuse if you put him in a meaningless game like this, but you never know, they might. So here, I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. If Phillip Rivers plays, the Colts are going to win. If he does not play, the Texans are going to win by like 20. Fair?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I agree with that. I think the Texans are going to win, though. I think their defense is pretty good, and I don't think
You a Stroud boy?
if the Colts, I'm not a Stroud boy. I'm low on Stroud. But if the Colts play their rookie quarterback, Leonard, I think he's going to get destroyed. I think the Texans will win that, no problem.
Well, yeah, do you want to get your rookie quarterback killed, or do you want to get a man a year away from drawing Social Security killed?
To be fair, though, I really like the thought of if Rivers plays this game and he wins, then he's in the Hall of Fame. Like this is like this is a weird Hall of Fame claim game to him. It's like I gotta win one. I've seen a lot of people say that he should be in the Hall of Fame now for coming back this year, which I think is funny, because nobody was on his side being in the Hall of Fame before he came back, but now after he came back, it's almost like a vibe. He's in the Hall of Fame just for like how funny it is that he came back and is playing decent.
That is pretty funny. I had not heard that take, and that's
you
absurd.
haven't?
That's absurd because he's came in and went 0-3.
Yeah.
Like,
but they almost won against the Jaguars.
They did. Okay,
they almost won that game.
Speaking of the Jaguars, Titans at Jaguars. Jaguars are big-time favorites, and they should win. There's no world in which the Titans should win. Even if Trevor Lawrence got hurt, the Jaguars should still beat the piss out of the Titans.
I don't know why, but I just started smelling trap. I'm looking at this, and for some reason, I'm like, the Jaguars almost lost to the Colts last week. The Titans, for some reason, I'm just smelling trap game. I think the Jaguars should completely blow the brakes off the Titans, no problems. Like, it should not even be a competition. But for some reason, I'm just smelling trap. So, I think I'm gonna go Jaguars for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a close game.
Well, you want to talk about a trap game? Looking at our next game, we have Chargers at Broncos. Broncos are... So this is first kind of rumblings yesterday, midday, that the line for the Broncos game was like 8 for the Broncos, which is kind of crazy. Thinking that the ones versus the ones would have a spread that big.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then it was, the Chargers are resting everyone. But we saw how that turned out with the Broncos and Chiefs. We don't have the killer instinct. We like close games and divisional rivals. You never know. And
it's always that way with the AFC West.
They're going to lose to the freaking backups and lose the first overall seed. But I'm still picking the Broncos.
Yeah,
God bless Bo Nix.
I'm picking the Chargers. I think that this is a trap game for the Broncos, and even if... Could you guys rest anybody here? Is it like a game where you guys wouldn't mind resting people, or is this, hey, we have to play our starters and you guys have to win?
Well,
it's a must-win, right, for the 1 seed.
We have like $20 or $30 million of rest right now, players resting. Except he's in
so
New
you
York
do
City.
have a lot of players. Oh.
No, just one. We just have one that's getting paid like 20 or 30 million, who's currently resting in New York because he's too shitty to play he's too good to be on the Giants. And that's Russell Wilson. No, we don't really have any. We do have some guys that are banged up that I hope we don't play. And we just trust the backups to get a win. But who knows? It's huge. If we drop this one, count us out of the playoffs.
Dude, our backups look good. Our preseason games, the backups were looking really good. And Trey Lance is actually an interesting quarterback because he's actually a dual threat QB more than you might realize. But
I don't know how he's a dual threat quarterback. He's only ever played like 10 total games of football in his whole career.
Which is hilarious, by the way.
Spanning college, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
dual threat
I'm happy
because
that
he's ran and passed the ball once.
That's that's fair. But I guess he's as much of a dual threat as Bo Nix is. But he's
or I'm
he looked good to
bilingual
me in the
because I know
preseason
my
games.
colors in Spanish.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, you said that he's a dual
threat.
And I'm like, and I said, yeah, just like I'm bilingual because I know a few words in Spanish.
But but he came in a couple of plays. I can't remember what game that was. He came in a couple plays for us, and he looked pretty good in those plays that he was in when Herbert was like a little hurt for like 4 plays. But I do think that our backups are really well coached, and I don't think that. Honestly, if we get destroyed, that's fine. But I would be pretty surprised if. But also our offensive line is really bad too. So it's like we have a really, really bad O-line, and we're playing our backup QB
against a very, very
are
very
we
good defense.
gonna a very good defense who the backup Chiefs almost beat, the third string Chiefs almost beat.
The Broncos are fighting for the most sacks in a season.
Dang. Okay, that's
granted, everyone's always fighting for the most sacks in a season, but we're at an achievable amount.
You could do it. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna say Chargers though. I think this is gonna be a weird I think this is gonna be a Chargers game where we're just gonna win for some reason. Like, all right, we'll take that win. And this is Broncos. I think the Broncos might be one of like the. If you guys lose this game, then that's gonna be really bad. It's gonna be really scary in the playoffs.
Sure will. It sure will. So. Now, the next game, we have the game of the week, the Chiefs at Raiders. I hope it's a tie, and everybody in the stadium has a terrible time. Next game.
They're playing at Vegas?
Yep, I'm not even choosing a winner. I think the Chiefs are still going to win, but I think
the game I think that game should end 3-3, and everybody who watched the game should have the worst time of their life.
Yeah, you know who wins this game? The people who don't watch it.
Yeah.
Lions
that game was horrendous.
Lions at Bears. Bears favored by 2.5. I have a feeling this is going to be a Caleb Williams regression game where he throws 2, maybe 3 interceptions, one of which is going to be really, really bad, and then 2 might be like bobbled interceptions, like kind of on the receiver. And the Lions are going to play at their full potential for the first time all year in a meaningless game for them.
It depends on if their players are hurt. Because I know Amon-Ra went down during that game of the Vikings, and another Lions player went down. So if those guys are hurt, I don't see them winning this game. I think I'm picking the Bears. Because I think the Lions players are actually more hurt than you might think. And if Amon-Ra plays, he's playing hurt.
Well, you know what Amon-Ra learned in Detroit from a famous rapper? He's going to come out on the field and say, I'm going to play this. He's going to come out on the field and say, I'm going to play this game till I collapse. Let's go.
Wow.
That was a good one. Anyways, Bills had...
Are you proud of that one?
Pretty sure am. Bills at Jets. Another one. I'm sorry for anyone who has to watch this. The Jets are bad. Not even fun to watch. They're just bad. They're like the Raiders. There's no redeemable qualities. Yeah. They've traded away all their good players. Don't care. Bad.
0 fun.
If the Bills don't win this game by like 15, they're cooked.
That's really bad. That's really bad for them. Yeah.
They'll have to They'll have to have a special meeting with Al Qaeda to get ready for the playoffs. Because you know all that with
Because with the coach like
always
using 9/11 as a motivation point,
yeah, something along
which
those
is
lines.
so weird and so awful. That is one of the strangest decisions. I can't believe that actually happened. That is
I know it.
one of the craziest things.
Dolphins. Here is out of all of my takes of the week. This is what spicy takes have I had? Oh, saying the Ravens and Steelers, if they win a playoff game, they'll make the Super Bowl.
You said if the Ravens and the Steelers, the winner of that game could be the AFC favorite to win this.
No. If they win their first wild card game, that's the key. If they win the first round of the playoffs, if either of those teams do, I will have them as a favorite to make the AFC Championship game.
Gotcha.
I mean, to make the Super Bowl. Sorry. Clarifying, to make the Super Bowl. And then what was my other take that I said? Oh, I said the Giants. That was pretty funny. Anyways, I think the Dolphins are going to beat. I think the Dolphins, despite being big underdogs, are going to come in and beat the Patriots.
Are the Patriots resting anyone?
I doubt it because they're fighting for the first overall seed.
Because they're fighting for the seed.
Yeah, they're fighting for number one in a bye. But even when Tom Brady was playing, the Patriots would have dumb games against shitty Dolphins teams and shitty Bills teams.
That's true. Yeah, the Dolphins were always like a weird hiccup.
The Dolphins are kind of having a late season resurgence, in my opinion, and they've got a guy at quarterback, Quinn Ewers. I don't think he's that good. I didn't think he was that good in college, but the rumbling is like he might be the starter next year if he continues to play well. So I feel like this is a big time career game for Quinn Ewers that I'm gonna bet on him and say I'm taking the Dolphins.
Oh, for sure.
Now,
I'm also reading a stat.
Would I put actual money on that? I don't know. Probably not.
You ain't dropping $10 on that game, because then afterwards, if you bet on that, you're gonna be like, why did I bet on the Dolphins? You know what I mean? But here's a stat though: the 3-13 New York Giants have more wins. Both 2 wins against teams over .500 than the 13-3 New England Patriots.
That's crazy. That's a crazy stat.
Yeah. The Patriots have beaten the Bills in Week 5, and that is their only win against a team over .500.
Jeez. That is it, but yeah. They're playing hot football. They're all professionals. They still beat professional football.
You still have to beat the team in front of you.
They still have to win, but
100%.
That isn't the best stat for them.
Yeah.
Okay, last 2 games. Commanders at Eagles. Eagles, again, somehow looked like they were about to fist fight each other, every single player.
Eagles did not complete a pass in the second half, by the way.
Yeah, they beat the Bills, and it's like this is how Eagles have been all
But that was
year.
also that stat. That was because of a challenge that I don't think that they called it right. They challenged that Devonta Smith dropped a catch, and when you watch the replay, it does not look like he dropped the catch at all.
Really?
And I think but that would mean though that they completed just 1 catch in the second half. But honestly, like that call was pretty big, and I honestly think that he caught it. It did not look like he dropped it at all. But they still looked really bad in the second half. And I don't get how you have the same core of players as the team who went to the Super Bowl and look this bad.
Okay. I agree. And that's essentially what I said during the first game. I mean, the first podcast is like Eagles just, I don't know what it is, but it's I think it's going to get blown up in the offseason unless they win the Super Bowl.
It has to be because they honestly are so boring to watch. Like, it is not fun to watch an Eagles game.
Nope.
Like it is miserable. That Eagles and Bills game was so bad to watch.
And then the last game, Ravens at Steelers. Ravens by 3.5. I am gonna
You're going Steelers?
I sure am.
Dude, Steelers don't even have DK. Did you know that before you said that?
I did. It's feels, man. I've made far too many bets with my mind. This is on feels.
This is the Ravens are gonna destroy them, I think. And I think it's not even gonna be close.
He's gonna pick up Derrick Henry, pick him up in the air, and take the ball out of his hand, carry Derrick Henry into the end zone for a Steelers touchdown. So here's the fun thing. So I want you to pick your lock of the week.
Okay. New segment coming out of here where you're hitting me with a crazy twist right now. Out of nowhere. Curveball. Lock of the week?
Lock of the week. And it can be anything. It can be a touchdown. It can be anything.
Sheesh.
I'll make mine while you make yours. I'm making 2.
Okay.
Caleb Williams over 0.5 interceptions, so he is going to throw an interception this week.
Okay.
And I would take the Panthers. That'd be my other. I would say Caleb Williams and the Panthers. Very random.
Interesting. I would say... I mean, the Rams versus the Cardinals, that's a lock. The Rams beating the...
Well, that's not
Rams
fun.
beating the Cardinals, that's no good. Yeah, okay, I'll say Trevor Lawrence 2 touchdowns. Like, over 2 touchdowns against the Titans. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
And then throwing, and then I'll say that the... Ooh, let me see. I was going to say something maybe that the Chiefs and Raiders game under 10 points total.
Under 10 points. Oh, yeah. That's pretty good.
Although that's not something I 100% believe in, but that's just something where I'm trying to wish it into existence right now.
That's hilarious.
Like
so
10 points and under.
The current over-under for that game is 36
oh
and a half.
God.
That's so funny. It's too early for me to adjust and see what our parlay would be because it's so early in the year, but early in the week. But maybe we can add it in right before the.
That's really funny.
Like Friday or Saturday. Okay, some other things that I thought was interesting before we kind of wrap it up. We're looking for that hour and a half probably. My little fun tidbit so going into the end of the year, a big thing to look at is incentives, which is a lot of times you have guaranteed money in your contract, and then you have opportunities to make more money by, getting X amount of sacks or X amount of touchdowns. And it's bode well for some teams previously. Like you'll see teams that should not have their starters play. If they're in a good organization with a good coach, they'll play the starters in I think it was Rob Gronkowski. I remember him notoriously going out there and getting 2 catches and then sitting the rest of the game because it made him another $500,000. But some notable ones, Keenan Allen needs just a few more receptions, doable within 1 week, to make a $750,000.
That's kind of crazy, yeah.
Stephon Diggs needs 30 more yards to reach $500,000. And I believe Stephon has a reception number, but I didn't have that amount. Some of the other big ones, Sam Darnold has some incentives where for touchdowns, yards, and completion percentage, that each one that he hits is an extra $500,000. But big games between the teams that are really good, there's not really. Rico Dowdle is the only one that'll be in an super important game besides Sam Darnold. Rico Dowdle needs like 7 more yards to make $1 million, which is great, especially probably going into this season. He was probably realistic and didn't think that was going to happen. So, good luck, boys. May you make some money.
You know, what's funny is I never ever care about incentives at all. I've never really thought about it, and but it's really interesting when you actually like break this money down by yards and by like sacks and by catches. Mm-hmm. And so it's like 6 catches. If you just simply get 6 catches, then you'll get $750,000. That's nuts.
Well,
and a person needing 1 sack to get $500,000.
Yeah.
Like breaking the money down that way is kind of interesting.
If you want to really interesting is looking into how, and this isn't, I'm not anti-tax, whatever. I like to think that if we are taxed, it's going to something good. Anyways, that the way that athletes pay their taxes is crazy. Like they have to pay in every state they play.
Yeah, I found that out like 5 years ago, and I remember thinking, that must insane. Be crazy during like tax season. That's such a weird way to do it. It's also a weird way to do it if you're like you think about the NFL, they play 17 games, but like the NBA is paying different taxes like every 2 weeks you maybe have like 3 to 4 different tax brackets like or different tax zones.
They also have games out of the country. How does that work? Like, what do they do for those games?
Oh yeah.
But
maybe the NFL
completely unrelated. I was having this conversation. Well, it is related, but I was having this conversation with a friend talking about athletes who are going broke later in life, and I was just saying, like, yes, it's really frustrating as someone who doesn't make millions of dollars seeing these people throw it away. But then you also have to be like, how many of them are actually educated on what contracts look like? You know, you have to pay your agent. You have to pay taxes. You have to pay the NFL Players Association. You don't have guaranteed money. So if you don't have the right people in your corner, you're going to be hemorrhaging money. Like if you're trying to maintain a lifestyle. My famous on this soapbox famous story is Shaq talking about his first paycheck. I mean, Shaq is now a great business mogul and very well financially literate, but initially he was like his first check, like his signing bonus, was gone instantly. And then he was in debt for most of the rest of his rookie year because he thought that like $1 million meant $1 million. So he spent money he didn't have and was like digging out of a hole. I find that really interesting. It's definitely something that a lot of people don't know. That side of it, that just because they're getting millions of dollars doesn't mean that they have the right people or education to handle the money, right?
Right.
So that's why I do give grace sometimes when you hear of players fucking up with their money.
In my opinion, if it's the 2020s, you should absolutely know.
Yeah,
but the thing is that they do educate them on finance classes. Like I read that each stadium and each team has like a finance person that will help the players with the finances and stuff.
And that's been within the last 15 or 20 years because the NBA in particular was really bad about it.
Oh, yeah.
And then also, like, people think, oh, I get drafted, I'm going to be in the league. And a lot of people don't even get past their rookie contract. Like, vast majority of NFL players don't get past their first contract.
That is kind of crazy to think about where it's like, you know, you thought, you kind of bet on everything going into the league and having a contract, but it's like, well, I didn't even make it past my rookie year, and now I
Right.
need to find something else to do, and maybe
Yeah,
I
the
can live this way
average
for a little while, but like, what else am I gonna do?
average NFL career lasts about 3.3 years, and that would include like practice squad and everything, not like the 53-man roster. So, I mean, it is still more money than I'll make in like a long time, but still, it's yeah, a fun money rabbit hole that if you want to learn about how to take care of your money if you ever become a multi-million-dollar athlete, go listen to Shaq. Did you have any fun tidbits? I see your Raiders. I feel like we can't not let you go into, because you've been on this soapbox that the Raiders are the worst team ever.
Yeah, this Raiders team in particular. Well, we'll end it with just like, I don't know. This will be like a weird random. This is one of the. I think we'll do a thing in the future where we'll choose like a random stat of the year. Like this is the most random fun fact stat of the year. Ooh. I just cracked my jaw and it just like
I heard
shook
it.
my whole head. But it's not actually related to the Raiders, but the Giants in that game. They brought up that the Giants have gone through 4 different kickers this season, which is tied with like the most ever. And at the same time, they have a left-footed kicker, which is the first time that there's been a left-footed kicker in the league in like 10 years. Or it
That
might
is a
even
very
be
fun
longer
fact.
than that. Like it's just random weird fun facts like that. But we'll do.
That
I
is
think we should do a thing where in the future it's like just compile like a list of those and see what is like. I don't know. Do like a weird vote thing about which is the most random fun fact.
Of kind of random fun fact, I'm doing a Broncos talk with my brother tomorrow, and so I was doing some Broncos research. That the Broncos are like 12-1 this year in one-score games, which is insane. Like, I looked at the previous 10 years of Super Bowl champions, and the next best was the Broncos in 2015 at 6-1. So like the Broncos are on an unprecedented run of
Winning of one score games.
Yes, of winning one-score games.
Wow. And you know what's interesting is that the only loss of that was to us, right, at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I believe so. Everything else has been rather not close.
Yeah.
Everything else is in one
everything.
game, baby. Let's go.
And I think right before we end here, I'll give you a little update on the Rams-Falcons game. The Falcons are currently winning 14-0.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Who scored?
Bijan, Kirk Cousins passed to Bijan for a touchdown, and then Jesse Bates interception return.
Oh my God! So the Rams, right? We're supposed to be playing for the first seed next week, right? No,
Yeah.
that's the Seahawks 49ers, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's the Seahawks 49ers playing for the first seed.
But still, the Rams.
Rams are around the 6th seed.
That's crazy. Kirk Cousins they're gonna fuck around and keep Kirk Cousins for another year, which is hilarious.
Kirk Cousins
right.
is like one of the most highest paid players in NFL history.
Ooh, I got my mom's Christmas gift. She got me a pair of Bo Nix socks. I think it's like
Yeah, you sent me the pic.
Cartoon picture of his face, and then it says Bo Leave on it. It's pretty great. Pretty great. All right. Go football. I think I won the picks today.
All right. No, you did not. I think once these games go through, you're gonna see.
You sound like an idiot.
Whoa! Sounding like an idiot.
Hey,
We'll
whoa.
see. Oh, hey.
Toodaloo.
We'll see when
Hey.
the Chargers win.